What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the CheckSwing Podcast with myself and, of course, the brains and brawn of the whole situation. My man, Coach Santa, is over there. We will be without the Hall of Famer Rob Battle tonight, but he's wishes from where he is. But tonight we do have a special guest on. I'm going to bring him right on in the beginning of the show because we got a special guest, so we got to treat him special. So we got a special guest today. But hold up, I forgot. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. Miguel, how you been, man? All right. Well, it looks like Miguel's having some technical difficulties with his microphone. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and bring in our special guest, Coach Ryan Hunter, the head coach of the Delaware County Community College Phantoms. Go Phantoms. He is in the building. We got you.
I hear you loud and clear.
Cool.
So we are here. We are here to talk about some things. Of course, we have a packed show. Actually, we have a lot to talk about because I really didn't think we was going to have that much to talk about. I was like, we got the Eagles, we got the Phillies, and then that's it. But see, that's why you got a team, right? Miguel had all. He just had a whole bunch of other stuff in there. I said, okay, cool. And then I was talking to Ryan, and he was like, "Yo," I was like, "Cool, all right." So we here and we got a packed show. So let me just touch on a few things that we're going to talk about today. Shohei Ohtani, since the last time we were on air, did amazing things. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. MLB is suing some gambling companies. We'll talk about that. Sixers in Philadelphia had a major announcement that happened this week. If you're not in the Philadelphia area, you may not have heard about it. But if you are in the Philadelphia area and you didn't hear about it, I wouldn't be surprised there either because there's a lot of other things going on as far as sports is concerned. And then, of course, big news. We actually spoke about this a few weeks back, I believe, maybe a couple months back. No, more like a few weeks back. The PIAA, that is the governing body in Pennsylvania for interscholastic athletics, has sanctioned? Yeah, they have sanctioned girls flag football. And I'll tell you, I spoke about it on the show back in the spring. I went to a couple girls flag football games in the spring, and exciting stuff, fun and exciting stuff, man. Fun and exciting stuff. I encourage you to check it out wherever you might be. But of course, we're going to talk about the Phillies. We're going to talk about the Eagles because they did things as well. I added something, Miguel, to the notes. I'm going to judge some NBA City Connect jerseys. I'm not going to go through all of them.
I was going to say, are we going to do all 35 of them?
No, just a handful that were like handpicked. I have one that I really like, and most of them are, it is what it is. You'll hear my opinions on that. But we have Coach Ryan Hunter here. Like I said, head coach of the Delaware County Community College Phantoms, DCCC, as they're affectionately known in the Delaware County area. And we're here to talk about some college baseball recruiting. And it's an interesting topic, right? Because to me, I was a baseball player. I was not recruited. I was a walk-on. But so I never went through that process. I believe, that I do know people that have gone through the process. One of the things I learned about the process, this is just one thing that has always stood out to me, and I just wanted to say this, and I'll let y'all speak this, and we can get this conversation going. When you're in high school and you're playing baseball, and your goal is to get to the next level, being college, whatever level that may be, JUCO, D1, D2, D3, whatever the case may be. If you have not heard anything going into your senior year, you might have to reconsider some options. Let's put it this way. If you haven't heard from your number one option by the time that you're going into your senior season, you might have to look elsewhere. We're going to talk about that. Coach Hunter, what I just said, how do you feel about that? Am,
Well,
am I accurate? Is it still that deal or
so now it's a little bit the other way around.
Hmm.
And the onus is on the prospective student athlete at this point. So if you haven't reached out to me by the beginning of your senior year, I'm already shoring up the recruiting process. But because the avenues are so plenty now, back when we were high school athletes, we didn't have the grace of social media. So we
Right.
didn't have that advantage. And it is a distinct advantage for kids right now because you can easily touch a coach in Pennsylvania when you live in California, or you can easily touch a coach in Texas when you live in Michigan. But 20 years ago, that was impossible. I remember going through the process of editing my own tape to send it out. There was no sending DVDs. There was no huddle to send highlight videos. There was no field level. So now the student athlete is at a distinct advantage in contacting coaches. So they should have already reached out to their dream list by the end of their junior year. If they haven't, they're already behind 1,000 kids.
And just piggybacking on what you're saying, piggybacked off what I'm saying. If they have reached out and they haven't heard back going into their senior year, they should probably look at different options.
Definitely. I mean, if you haven't heard from your top 10, top 20 going into your senior year, if you look at Twitter right now, you could easily search baseball 2026, and you're going to see at least 100 recruits that are already committed to programs for 2026.
Hmm.
Now they're saying that they're committed to these programs. November 1st is the early signing date, but these kids are committing to these programs early, and you're also seeing a bunch of kids now with the potential rule changes coming down the line. They're decommitting from programs because the roster size is shrinking.
Hmm. 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 It's interesting, Miguel. You
Sure.
being you were on high school level, club team level. Have you seen? Have you seen where a kid might be looking to go to certain places, but they haven't heard from them? But like, how do you navigate that from a club level? Because for you, it's slightly different. Because with club level teams, sometimes they'll have a team of guys that are still looking for a home, and they'll just shop them as a team by itself. So, like from the club level, like what is that um, navigation like?
So the biggest challenge is depends on the age group. Like I have this year the 14U, 15U. So that's the middle school going into high school. So it's equivalent to, I guess you can say, a junior or senior going into, college or whatever. But it's different from the fact that it's more the mindset. A lot of these players come from these neighborhood teams, these, you know, federation leagues, these, smaller organizations with this concept of how they play and how good they are. I have one kid who is like 6 feet tall. He's big for his age, but he said, "Coach, I led my team in stolen bases, but he had the lowest running score." And if he's watching, my bad. But it's something that it's something that we're working on. We're going after, but we have my director affectionately calls us lily pad hoppers. So we have some parents that are just looking for their specific player to play, and then they're looking for the competition that the team is playing. So are we playing in a PG tournament or a prep baseball tournament? Are they facing good competition or mediocre competition? There was one player that was on our team that had already, even before he got to our team, was already on 4 other club teams, and then played with me for a season, and now left to go to his 5th club team in like 3 years. You know what I mean? And a lot of it had to do with, you know, he wanted his son to play and star in a specific position. He believed that his son was the best at this position. Except that I had like 3 or 4 others that were he was good and he is good, but there's certain parts of the game that needed refining, but he couldn't put in the work because he was on all these other teams that he was kind of in between. The other thing is cost. So it's like, it's a sticker shock to a lot of the parents because really it's starting to turn into like a pay to play. So if you can afford it, little Johnny, who may not be the best shortstop in the state, can afford to be seen and have all his videos posted on Exposure, on Perfect Game. But John Rowe here, who's like the man, can't even afford a baseball bat, can't afford $1,100 for a team, can't afford the $150 registration fee. So there's a lot of, from what I can see, price gouging. One of the tournaments we went down into Delaware, and my director was pissed about this. We got taken to a golf cart because we had to go back to the main administrative area, and they charged us for 2 dozen baseballs. I'm like, you don't provide baseballs? Oh no, we don't do that here. But just talk to your organization; they'll reimburse you. I text my boss real quick. He was like, "What the?" So it's like everything is starting to become a price gouge, and it's even to the point where I don't know if it's one of the major youth organizations actually has a middle school player World Series to showcase all the middle schoolers from all over the country, and it's insane. It is absolutely insane. So by the time I get all these Johnnies and these Bills and these Joes, you're not only dealing with the student, but you're also dealing with the parent. Like this year is the most emails I've ever had to write in my coaching career ever. And a lot of it just had to do, most of it was informational, parents are new to this and stuff like that. But there were some, I got exit velos, I got pop times. I'm like, your kid was in 8th grade. You know what I mean?
Coach, I think CC Sabathia said exactly what your point is that travel ball organizations are becoming country club sports.
Yeah.
It is, you're pricing out a certain level of talent, and you're essentially making those players not recruitable.
Right.
So, and just to ask you, from a travel ball standpoint, in terms of recruiting, what do you guys do to assist? So let's say you have a team they're headed towards high school right now. How do you guys prepare them for that recruiting? Because I know, and because we discuss it, I'll come out to tournaments that you guys have at MSI or tournaments that you guys are participating in to not effectively scout the kids, but show them a college presence is visible. So how do you prepare those guys from a travel standpoint to say, hey, look, there's college coaches in the stands?
Well, for me, from a personal standpoint, because it all depends on the age group, especially with these young guys. I'm preparing these guys for the showcases that are coming in their junior year and letting them know, like, we may go down to like James Madison. And, usually there's a lot of the D2, D3 coaches that are down there. And I got to be honest, a lot of it is because I don't know if these are the COVID children or the COVID babies or whatnot, but a lot of them have, they're not handling their emotions well. Like I'm seeing a lot of pictures on the mound when a call is like an inch or two outside, they lose their ever loving mind. And I'm trying to introduce them to the fact, like, listen, even at the high school level, you will be benched for stuff like that. So, and we're all kind of like coaches and pseudo teachers here. So it's like, I'm all up for the teachable and coachable moments, but like, you got to understand, like, I'm not going to take that stuff either. So, a lot of how I coach is in the moment. I'm not a yeller and a screamer, as you guys know, but, I'm all up for coaching and teaching what is expected at a level higher than here.
And you brought up a good point about high school, and Coach Watson, I know, with you formerly the head coach at Penwood High School, uh, and I know that you've had some talent that have come through. Particularly, I have one on my roster right now. How do you help prepare those guys for the college recruiting process from that level?
Well, my approach is different. Okay, because when I'm I like I said, I never went through that process. Right. So navigating that process, I got to talk to other people. But what I do from my standpoint, from learning from coaches that I've had and coaches I've coached with and coaches that I know, um, I stress, hustling on and off of the field. Right. If Coach Sanders says he's got uh, um, a college coach in the stands watching, and somebody ain't hustling on off and on the field, and they too cool. I don't, I'm not dealing with that. I don't, as a college coach, I don't want to deal with that. Be a good teammate. I've had coaches call me, college coaches call me about guys, and one of the first questions they asked me was, "Is he a good teammate?" Right? It's funny because the first question used to always be, "How are his grades?" But then it became, "Is he a good teammate?" So be a good teammate on and off the field. You never know who's watching. You know what I mean? My advice for that process was really nothing about baseball, more about life, really. I guess if you think about it, sport life, athletic life. But some of the other things I would tell them, I'm trying to think, your body language, and I got that from Coach Sanders. Your body language means a lot. You know what I mean? People could see your body language, and I didn't even realize. Like I would see body language, but I wouldn't equate it to anything until I heard him talk about it, and I'm like, "Damn, how did I not pick up on this earlier?" So, I take it from like a standpoint of I'm a coach looking at you. Am I going to want you on my team in my program, knowing that this is my livelihood, right? This is my job. So, am I? And if a coach called me to ask me about a kid and they don't have those qualities, I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna tell them because if I'm not gonna mess it up for another kid coming down the line that might have an opportunity because I lied for you, and now that coach doesn't trust me. So I think it's important to let the guys know that too. Like we're not going to lie to a coach because we could mess it up for somebody else. A couple years from now, next year, 10 years, whatever the case may be.
And I think that's extremely important, is the coaching community relationship. I stress that with my guys now, being at the community college level. I tell them all, I have connections at NCAA D1, D2, D3. And if that is where you want to go, we can help you get there. I also have those connections at NAIA, USCAA. So if you want to go that route, I can help you get there. But the one thing that I can't do is jeopardize my relationship with another coach by telling them something not real about your abilities or your attitude or your work ethic. Because I risk my reputation every time I send a kid to a school. Every time I send a recruiting letter on behalf of a kid, I'm risking my reputation. And I think that, these 18, 19, 20-year-olds are still learning what reputation means. And I think that they don't understand how long a stain on your reputation lasts. And I think it goes back to the adage that one lie ruins 1,000 truths.
Mhm.
And from that recruiting standpoint, I can't say, "Hey, this kid throws 88," when really he throws 78.
Can you repeat that? Say that again. You say you're not going to say those 88 when really what?
Yeah, I said I can't say that a kid throws 88 when he really throws 78. That just ruins the relationship with the coach on my part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, we kind of answered this question just in our discussion, but like, have you guys come across any red flags in for you, Coach Hunter, in the recruiting process, for you, Coach Santa, in the process of maybe coaching somebody that is going to be recruited or is being recruited? Have you ever seen like some things where you're like, that's not going to fly? Like, I mean, Coach Santa mentioned something earlier, but that's not going to cut it. That attitude ain't going to cut it. That the whatever the case may be. Like, I know I've heard horror stories. So, Coach Hunter, I'll let you go first. What are some red flags that you see that you have seen that you would eliminate a kid from your process?
So my biggest red flag is communication. And I'll give you a real live example. I had a kid reach out to me today, literally today. I contacted this kid back in June. He said, "Hey, coach, I didn't see your message on Twitter. I just checked my email and I saw your email. It's from June. You hadn't enrolled in school yet. Now we're into the semester." He was a 2024 grad. He's not thrilled with the situation that he's currently in. And now viable possibility. And I think that one big thing for me is, you kind of give us the big league mentality. You're a little too big to come to a JUCO, or you're too talented to come to DCCC right now because of the position we were in last year. You don't really understand the ins and outs of the process, and you look at it and you say, it's not a fit for me. But now you get into a situation and you're looking for somewhere that fits you better, and you're coming back, and now we're that second option. And I think it's just like dating. Like, we're the safe date. You might want the flashy guy from the beginning, but we're the safe date. And it's like, is this somewhere that I could be long term, or is it somewhere that I just need to go to jump? Do I want to go to a winning team that's already made and come in and work my way into a lineup? Or do I want to come in and help rebuild the culture and set the tone for the future of a program? And a lot of kids, especially at 18, 19, they could care absolutely less about setting a foundation for a program. They don't think like that. They're thinking about, what can I get immediately? And for some people, that's reps. It's valuable to come to this level and get those reps immediately. Or I'm somebody who really just wants to win. And if I just want to win and I'm on a winning roster and a winning team, and I might not be a contributor on the field, but I'm a contributor from the bench. I'm the guy chasing foul balls. I'm the guy cheering you on, and I'm telling you what I see from the pitcher, from the bench. You have to learn your role and how you can contribute. But the biggest thing that I see is lack of communication. And if you can't communicate with me during the summer, how are you going to communicate with me when I need to know how your grades are? How are you going to communicate with me when you have a problem? if you can't communicate with me when everything's okay, it's even harder to communicate with me when something's wrong.
So I'm gonna put this out there, and then we can move the conversation forward because we got the Eagles and the Phillies to talk about. They did some exciting things. They're not doing exciting things right now. We'll put that microphone there, maybe hit my head. Can you tell us, Coach Hunter, some of the difficulties you run into in the recruiting process? And by difficulties, I mean, I don't mean, something like what you just said about the communication. I'm talking about like some of the roadblocks that you might have. Like you mentioned, I know we were talking before. You had talked about like you can't talk certain age groups. You can't talk to certain guys if they've signed like talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think especially for a senior class, I definitely have to look and see if a kid is already committed to a program. Once you are committed to, and so we're NJCAA, we're a JUCO. So if you've committed to another JUCO, I can't talk to you. How do I know that you committed to a JUCO until I talk to you? So it's kind of a catch-22. I have to find out. Now, once I find out, I got to stop communication immediately. But that doesn't cross boundaries between NAIA, USCAA, NCAA. You can sign a letter of intent with me, and then tomorrow Thomas Jefferson University calls, and you sign a letter of intent with them. Now, because they're an NCAA institution, those two don't correlate with each other. They're not on the same level. So essentially, you could do that. I've seen kids do it and have a backup plan. They are committed to a D1, a D2, and then have that JUCO on the back burner just in case something falls through. And then age, obviously, and I don't think so. For me personally, I'm not communicating with a kid unless they're going into their junior year. You've got to be an exceptional sophomore for me to think about communicating with you. Typically, because you're still growing, everything's going to physically change with you in the next 12 to 24 months. You may change your passion for the game in 12 to 24 months. The kids, once you get to your junior year, you're kind of more defined in the direction that you're going. And those are the kids that I want to talk to, me personally. I know NCAA rule, you can't talk to them until August 1st of their rising junior year. So right after they finish their sophomore year, once August 1st hits, you're allowed to start that communication. But I use that same thing as a rule of thumb, just because one, it's a mentality shift going into your junior year, because you understand that with baseball, that's usually the decision-making time. Your senior year is just to pad numbers and get the hype videos going.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's true, because usually by your senior year, you know where you're going or you know where you ain't going.
Yeah.
But you got to know something. All right. Well, we're gonna move this conversation forward, and Coach Hunter he's going to stick with us.
I'm gonna stick around.
He's going to stick around for us. We got to talk about the Eagles. We got to talk about the Phillies, and I do want to talk about the stadium that's coming to Philadelphia, the new arena coming to Philadelphia. Well, it's supposed to be coming, so we'll see.
Right.
We'll talk about that, and I'm going to talk about the City Connect jerseys. As I'm going to talk about the City Connect jerseys now.
Why?
Why not?
Let's talk stadium first.
Yeah, that's because it's okay. Let me guess. I haven't seen the jersey. Hold on. I haven't seen the jersey yet. Let me guess. It's a variation of something with the spectrum. They look like the Denver Nuggets, but it's Philadelphia. Am I close?
Yes.
Okay. Next question. So, like,
but here's the thing. What made you think I was even going to talk about the Sixers? I said I'm going to pick there's like a handful of jerseys. And by that, I literally mean like 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's still I still have a disdain for the Sixers as an organization, especially by that guy named Embiid.
You know what? It's okay because when you talk about that, I think differently of you. So
Differently of me.
of you, yes, I see you in a whole different light when you talk about my Sixers like that.
No,
And
no, no. You see me differently every time I talk about your boy Embiid because you are his Howard Eskin.
whether it's Embiid or the Sixers, if you're talking bad about them, I see you in a different light, and I don't even know who you are anymore. I don't even know.
I remember the first time you said it, I thought we were breaking up. I'm like, are you breaking up with me? Like, what the hell is that?
No Diddy.
Dude, too soon. Too soon. Dude, too soon. Way
No,
too soon.
Diddy.
All right, let's talk about y'all. All right, let's talk about the stadium. Go ahead, Miguel. I'll let you. I'll pick my feet up off the floor. What you got to say about the stadium since you talking about the Sixers so bad?
Well, I mean, we've been talking about this on and off. So the mayor, the wonderful mayor of Philadelphia, announced that they are in some sort of agreement with the Sixers to keep them in Philadelphia. God forbid they go to Camden over the river, and to build the arena.
In Camden. I don't even
What'd
know
you
why
say?
they're there. They don't belong in Camden.
Yeah, but you heard what the New Jersey governor was offering.
Oh yeah, they was. Oh yeah. He drove that price up, didn't he?
I mean, not a bad deal. However,
I think they reached out to him and was like, "Yo, put in an offer."
You-
for it."
okay, let me just air this. You know why? You know what my disdain for the Sixers is? It's the owner. How are you an owner that owns the Sixers, the Washington, whatever they want to call themselves, the New Jersey Devils? Like, how do you? Not only do you own several teams, but you also own several teams that hate each other.
That is strange to me, but
You've got to diversify the portfolio.
I was going to say that's business. That's good business. He don't care nothing about what them fans are thinking about them other teams.
Not a
Oh,
damn thing.
He thinking about them pockets. Fans are thinking about the fans. The businessmen are thinking about the money.
He's like the Nick Sirianni of owners. Okay, so Sixers,
But it's funny.
you know exactly what I'm talking about because he has that hate the face like them dudes from Jersey. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I always hate when political officials say we have reached an agreement, we have the terms on paper, but we're gonna release them at a date of our choosing at a later time. So that's basically what the deal is to build this arena in downtown Philadelphia with 11th and Market. I know I know when this rumor first came out that I honestly felt okay about it because I'm thinking, all right, well, they're very successful at the Garden. It gives you an excuse to use public transportation in the right way. But then I kept hearing and reading about this and this one statement that stuck to me. It said, if it's done right. If it's done right. And if we've known Philadelphia projects to be done right, Market Frankfurt L, how long did it take to build on each side? That big hole on 8th and Walnut that was supposed to be the first indoor Disney theme park. That took 75 years to build, and they finally built it across the street in the wrong spot. It's like,
wait a minute, hold on. There's a Disney theme park in Philadelphia?
not a Disney. It's that movie theater that's on the. See how confusing this is. It's the theater, but what was the original plan for that? Remember the eighth and the big hole on 8th and 9th and Market Walnut, that area. Mm-hmm. It was there for about 12 years, and that's not an exaggeration. The original plan was to have an indoor Disney theme park, and what did they decide to do? A parking lot. Down in Broadway, Washington. That was supposed to be a big thing with Will Smith. That was supposed to be like a big art school. Guess what it is? It's a parking lot. And now we expect, with the wonderful history of construction in Philadelphia and how 95 only took 67 years to build through the city of Philadelphia, that they're going to be successful and make this plan work on 11th and Market.
So
I was okay until I heard that statement.
So I want to chime in, and I want to give a huge shout out to my sports management instructor Ed Pressure, because he's going to be extremely happy that I throw this nugget in there, saying that if this $1.3 billion stadium is built with taxpayer dollars, it is extremely fiscally irresponsible. We actually literally just talked about this in our class today. We watched a video about the teams using leverage of moving to get these new stadiums, and how these stadiums are built off of these bonds that essentially put the taxpayers in debt or raise taxes for the surrounding commodities like hotels, travel, to cover the expenses when these teams pay $0 for use of these stadiums. Prior to learning this in our course, I would have been like, hey, I'm all for it. New stadium generates jobs, all of this good stuff, which is exactly what the politicians, and I'm not saying that Mayor Parker is trying to do this, but they jam it down your throat that, hey, we're creating new jobs. Well, how much staff are you going to have that's different than you have in the stadium that exists already?
That was my thought exactly.
What's going to change with building this new stadium other than state-of-the-art features? So when you're adding features, I mean, you may generate a couple hundred more jobs, but what does that infuse into the economy? I know that, the great citizens of Chinatown are adamantly against it, because historically, if you look at and I think the example used today was the Miami Marlins Stadium, the surrounding businesses were suffering because nobody wanted to come downtown when games were being played. Nobody wanted to come to the area surrounding the arena. And then you're in Miami for a baseball game. So really, nobody wants to go to the baseball games either. Where did you make money? You didn't make money for businesses. You didn't make money with patrons in the stadium. You're not effectively boosting the economy like you said you would. So where's the real benefit? And looking in Center City, Philadelphia, where's the benefit going to be?
I'll tell you what. I was against it when they were thinking about it. I was against it when Jersey got involved. I'm against it now. Just for the simple fact, I'm not even going to get into the schematics y'all got into, because y'all already said all that, and I don't need to, because y'all are both 100% right.
So let me ask you one thing, Justin.
Okay.
If the deal falls through, because we all know politicians are liars. So if the deal falls through, okay, and then all of a sudden your boy Josh Harris says, "You know what? I think I'm going to."
Oh, don't you call him my boy. I didn't even know his name. When you said the owner, I couldn't remember his name. Now I know.
I knew, because you always look north and to the right, so that's how I know you're
Miss Meek Mill, homeboy.
That's because that's where my notes are. My notes are north and to the right.
Oh, that was so if Harris, whatever his name is, if he turns around and says we renege on the deal, we're moving to Jersey, are you okay with the Sixers becoming the New Jersey 76ers or the Kansas 76ers or the Laurel or the Mount Holly?
First of all, to answer your question, no, I'm not. But secondly, that would not happen. They would still be called the Philadelphia 76ers. Because, and I'm gonna tell you why, and you probably already know this, but I'm gonna say this for people that may not know. The team's name is usually connected with the closest metropolis or the closest city area, and where a majority of the dollars come from when buying a ticket. So they wouldn't be called, even if everybody in Camden went and bought a ticket, and then the rest went to Philadelphians, they would still be called Philadelphia 76. You know
Do
what I
you
mean?
think? Do you think Philadelphians would cross the bridge and pay the toll?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yes, they would.
Absolutely
Go
not.
watch
There
basketball.
will be some that say no, of course, but there are fans. I tell you, I would go and watch a Sixers game. I would go across the bridge watch a Sixers game.
But you wouldn't paying $6 or $8 or whatever it is to cross the bridge, and then on top of the $30, excuse me,
I'm not a season ticket holder, so it's not like I'm going to be going across that bridge 41 times.
right? But I made a mistake. Harris is now going to charge $50 for parking because that's just what he does.
I'll park at my boy house and I'll get an Uber.
Or take Petco.
I'm telling you right now. But to get back to what I was saying, I'm against the stadium being downtown Philadelphia. I always was against it. I was against it when they were thinking about it before with I think when they were the other stadiums that when they were doing it. I'm completely against that. Call me spoiled or whatever the case may be. I like being able to drive down to the area and park down there and go into the game. I don't want to have to fight. I hate. Listen, I hate traffic. Like I hate it. I despise traffic. If I can control the situation, I would never. So if I know I would rather drive than take the train or public transportation to a game at any time. Anytime. Right. Right now in Philadelphia, SEPTA is not safe.
It's not, so I've heard.
The city of Philadelphia itself, it's not safe. Okay. I mean, there's certain areas that are more dangerous than others. Let me put it like that. I shouldn't say Philadelphia is not safe. Certain areas are more dangerous than others. But right now we're in a time where people are doing the dumbest things for no reasons.
Right.
Just doing them to do them now. Now you're going to have a whole conglomerate of people storming the downtown area. Now, both of y'all mentioned Mayor Sherrell Parker. I don't know Mayor Sherrell Parker. I don't know her personally. I don't really know her politics, to be honest with you. But what it seems like to me, from the outside looking in, it seems like to me that she is in place to, or her, what her agenda is to make the city money, get the city financially back on track at some way, shape, or form. One of the things that she did was made it mandatory for city workers to come back to work. However, what did they not do? They didn't do anything about childcare, because now people are going to have to send their children to childcare. You didn't shore that up yet, right? That I know of. You didn't make SEPTA safer, right? So for people that want to take the train, so if you mandated city workers to come back to work because that helps bring money back into the city, but you didn't make the transportation scene any safer for these people, why am I to believe that you're going to make it safer for people coming to watch a Sixers game? I have no reason to believe that.
And that goes back to my point about it's fine on paper, but can Philly actually make this work? And now it's like, ever since I heard that statement, if Philly does it right, we're not going to do it right. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I love my city, but
people are scoffing at the argument of I don't want to deal with that traffic, and their argument is, and I think this is the dumbest argument. They got a point, but it's the dumbest argument. The argument is, well, what about traffic leaving the stadiums when you're leaving a game? Yeah, that traffic is crazy, but I'm talking about getting. I don't mind. I mean, I hate traffic. Probably the only time that I don't. I'll say that the time I don't mind traffic the least, or whatever I'm trying to say, the time the traffic bothers me the least is when I'm leaving a game, because I know what I'm going to be dealing with. I know, you're going to have to navigate. I know you're going to do these things. When I don't want to deal with traffic is rush hour going to the game. That's what I don't want to deal with. You're talking about people leaving work. You're talking about
Right.
people coming to the game. You're talking about people coming downtown to do downtown things.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? No. No.
But
Idea.
I, I think the idea was to retrain people because the big emphasis was all right, they'll just use public transportation because it's going to be right there. It's going to be like literally you get off the L or you do the free interchange from the Broad Street subway or you get off at Market East Station and you just walk a block or two, which makes sense because again, I go back to the Madison Square Garden example. That's what they do. It's the Madison Square Garden, 20,000 people, and you got, you know, Penn Station, all that. You had all the boroughs coming there.
Can I speak
That's
to
the
that
same
example?
concept, but
Can I speak to your Madison Square Garden example? Because I think that's like the template for like a lot of these places that do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Madison Square Garden, and this speaks kind of to what you're saying, Miguel. Madison Square Garden was built in 1968.
Mhm.
So between then and now, that's a lot of time to get things right. Now, New York was always New York, but New York ain't what it is. It wasn't what it is now. Like and it'll 40 something years from now, it won't be what it is 40 years ago.
Right.
But right now in Philadelphia, like Philadelphia gets so congested.
You're right.
And it's such old city.
Mhm.
Like in Philadelphia, for people that don't live in Philadelphia, go around Philadelphia. The city itself is sinking. Okay, this is why they are going around changing these in major cities all across the country. They're going around changing the piping in all the streets
Mhm.
in the city. Like, pay attention to what's going on. The cities are sinking. Like, that's what's happening. So they have to reconstruct the foundation of what it's on. And as the city is sinking, these pipes that are underneath are going to break, and this, that, and the third. But we're not here to talk about city infrastructure,
City planning.
As you so eloquently brought up.
which is why I didn't really want to talk about the stadium that much first anyway. But it got us through quite a bit of time. We talked about
You just upset that I brought up your owner and Embiid in a
I
negative
don't have
light.
it. Thank you very much.
What do
So-
you mean your
I don't
owner?
even know if we're going to get to what we're supposed to be doing today because that took so doggone long. I don't know if we had to do it. Look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make some of y'all. I'm gonna make one of y'all mad right now. Okay.
Don't put no unnecessary captions under me.
No.
Okay, I was gonna say.
If you bring up an ugly Miami Heat jersey,
No. I'm not going to do that either. I'm not going to do
okay. I thought we were going to City Connect.
that. So we are.
Come
And
on.
the one that Miguel likes the most.
Oh, it's white.
That's what I don't like about this. So
Yeah, that the spectrum logo does not look good in white. It does not.
So last year was not the spectrum, right? Or what?
No, it was the color pattern, but I think the year before that it looked like retro like Nuggets jersey, and then I think they made the alteration where it looked better like a Sixers jersey, but it still had that spectrum thing. That spectrum.
Well, I will tell you this, and it's probably going to be surprising to you, Miguel. I don't like it, and I'm going to tell you why. They mailed it in. All they did was take one of their old designs and change the main color, and that was it.
But if you notice, the Nike, the City Connect jerseys all the way around, like they got really trashed this year. The Phillies one, I think, is starting to huh.
There are some decent ones.
There are some decent ones. Like my favorite one, I love Seattle Mariners. I love Milwaukee Brewers. The Philly one is growing on me. I think it was just the shock of going from the traditional red and white to like all blue, and
Yeah,
blue.
Old. It's
Huh?
because you're old.
What?
Young folks loved it. Old folks like you didn't like it. And now your Krabby Patty self is coming along. Your Krabby Patty self is coming along and saying you like it.
Oh, you're getting snarky. Ooh,
Get off
okay.
my lawn.
That's get off my lawn guy. He's that guy.
No, but like I said, it was the shot. It was just like with the Texas Rangers jersey. Like if you're not from Texas, you don't understand why you go from the blue and the red to freaking black and beige. You know what I mean?
It's got to have a story.
Right.
Now,
It's gotta have a story.
Spurs, and they went with the mint green kind of plain. Yeah, it's plain.
See, what's the story behind what's the story? I've never seen a meet and green. What is the story behind that?
I don't know. I didn't even
60s Texas fashion. Oh, I didn't know Texas had fashion in the 60s.
Yeah, black folks wasn't allowed in Texas. Yeah,
Let's not make this into a race war.
so this one here is I think the worst one.
What?
Mile high.
This one's terrible. This one.
So what they did was they took the material from the San Diego Padres one and said, "Screw it, put it on a basketball jersey." That's what they did there.
This one's terrible. It's terrible. I don't like it. I don't know what they're doing with these things. I'm not a designer. I can't. This one here, Oklahoma, they mailed it in.
The Oklahoma, not terrible, but what the hell's the pattern on?
They mailed it in.
What's the pattern on the side?
You mail it in. You didn't put it forth the effort. Same thing with this one here, the Orlando Magic. They mailed it in. That's basically their jersey with a different font and some Yankee pinstripes. They mailed it in. Okay. But this one here takes the cake for me. This one is a bad boy to me.
What in the blue hell?
Bad boy to me. This is
that is actually the play on Vince's Hall of Fame logo.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's his dunk, and the dinosaurs doing their City Connect jersey is honoring one player. There was some thought put into that. There was actually some thought put into that.
Well, I could almost say that they mailed it in too, because they used that logo when he was announced that he was getting elected to the Hall of Fame. They put that out then and then said, "Oh, let's just put it on a jersey."
So they honored him. Their City Connect jersey is honoring Vince Carter going to the Hall of Fame.
Their greatest player ever.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So far, I mean, Tracy McGrady probably, he'll go, and Chris Bosh will go probably.
If T-Mac goes, I would go as Orlando.
He's their first Hall of Famer.
I would go as the Orlando Magic if I'm T-Mac.
Yeah, but see, I feel like his who you talking about? T-Mac?
T-Mac.
Oh, T-Mac. But see, in basketball, they don't really go as a team. Like football, they go as a team, I think. Not as a team, but as
they select the team.
They select the team. But basketball is just in the basketball hall because the basketball Hall of Fame is not the NBA Hall of Fame, it's just the basketball Hall of Fame. So like you can get in there for being a radio announcer in college. So, it is what it is. But I think that's the best one right there. First, he went with the throwback logo. I'm sorry, say it again, Ryan.
I said R.I.P. Big Pat. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
R.I.P. Big Pat. That's the homie right there. I'm not deleting his number out my phone. Can't do it. Can't do it. R.I.P. Big Pat. But this is the dopest to me of the selection. This was the dope. They did the Raptors going through the legs. They go into the throwback jersey logo. They went with the throwback jersey pinstripe on there, what they used to have, what Vince used to wear when he first got there. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought that was good. So shout out to the Toronto Raptors. I wish y'all the best, except for when y'all play the Sixers, because Embiid's gonna doo-doo on y'all. So Eric Logan has said it's the front that's trash for me when he's talking about the
font.
You connect.
The font is based off of the font on the Declaration of Independence.
Eric, I completely agree. It's trash.
Yeah, it's the font that's used in the Declaration. That's the backstory. It's
You sure about that?
Yeah, that's in the story of how they came up with the concept for the Phillies.
That's how they were writing it. I thought
Not
the
the
writing was like,
Sixers, the Phillies.
The Phillies.
oh,
Baseball
the
jersey.
Phillies.
The Phillies font. He was talking about the Phillies font.
Oh, my
Yeah.
bad. I thought he said, I'm thinking Philly, not Phillies.
No, that Sixers jersey is the font from the Spectrum. I'm 100% sure that's what the Spectrum font was.
My bad. Yes, that the font on that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay.
I would have liked if they would have went with the Phillies the 70s font. 70s, 80s. If they would have went with that across, it may look a little better, but because it just looks like it's pasted on it looks cheesy, you know what I mean? I don't know.
As we get closer to the NBA season, which is right around the corner, we will go through on one of our shows. We'll go through the City Connects, and I'll evaluate them as we did with all the baseball ones. And I evaluated them. Most of them was trash. They were. Most of them was trash, and just like most of the ones I showed you just now were trash, except for the Toronto one. That was pretty dope. All the rest of them were trash. The San Antonio was cool because San Antonio is pretty boring anyway. Like, no disrespect to the city. I mean, just like as a team, like their colors are like black, white, and gray. Like it's kind of they had to put a splash in there.
Like the Raiders.
Let's check this out. Phillies clinched the NL East last night, actually, and they're still getting beaten the hangover game today. But Garrett Stubbs made a pretty cool play at first base. If you get a chance, I'm sure it'll be on SportsCenter, win or lose.
Or lose.
Yeah, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. I mean, one thing I found out tonight that I didn't know: Nick Castellanos has played in every game this season. Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Did not realize that. But they won last night. They clinched the NL East last night. They're losing today. Hopefully they don't get rained out tomorrow. But I'll tell you this, Miguel. You were on the show last week, so you know how I felt last week about the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, my feelings have not changed. My feelings have not changed. I don't have confidence. I don't have the confidence. I just don't. And here's why. Ryan and I were talking, and we were talking about, how people that are not Phillies fans feel about the Phillies and how Phillies fans feel about the Phillies. And I'm going to tell you why Phillies fans feel the way they do about the Phillies, not named Miguel. Because we watch them every day, right? When the Phillies win, they look like world beaters. When they lose, they don't lose battles. They don't lose a back and forth battle. They get their butts kicked. Look like they had no business
like
being
right now.
What'd you say?
Said like right now.
Yeah, right now. What expected.
Anything after the clinching game doesn't count.
Yeah, this was completely expected. I like the games like today, the day after they clinch. I always expect to see somebody throw up on the field.
I can go on Twitter right now, and there's somebody complaining that Rob Thompson needs to be fired because they're losing.
That's normal.
They're losing.
That's normal for Philadelphia. That's normal for Philadelphia. Like, and whoever that is, that says that, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that say it. They need to stop. You don't understand. You obviously don't understand sports if you complaining about today. Like, today is a throwaway game. It just is.
They're a millennial that owns a Chihuahua in Nicetown.
It's probably a Chihuahua Doodle.
Oh yeah, they like to mix that stuff.
Fifth Town.
Chihuahua Doodle is a nice town. Ryan, Coach Hunter is a Yankees fan, and Coach Sam is a Phillies fan. Now, I'm going to ask you this, Coach Hunter, and knowing you're not a Phillies fan, but I'm going to ask you this because I'm asking Coach Santa the same way. What is your confidence level in the Phillies going into the playoffs?
I believe, and you know that even though I'm not a Phillies fan, I'm a baseball fan. You know, Red October, I have been present every year. I'm in the stadium every round that they get to. And I do believe that they're going to get to the championship series this year. I do believe that they'll be in the NLCS. I don't think that they're going to beat the Dodgers. I think that this is a Shohei Ohtani year. I truly believe that, especially by the NLCS, he's back pitching.
Man, what? Oh, you think so?
He's already said it.
Really? So they'll put him in the rotation, or they have him coming out the pen?
He will more than likely be a reliever or closer. He said that he wants the ball for the last out. So I know I think he's in the position to put himself like he did at the World Baseball Classic.
Okay, Miguel, what is your confidence level in the Phillies?
I was actually thinking similarly, but I really think it's going to depend on the opponent. I can't remember the last time a real juggernaut won their league championship, because I think what was it, the Astros don't count, they're still cheating. So when the Phillies went to the World Series, the number 1, number 2 seeds were the Dodgers and the Mets, and both got swept. Right?
They both had that bye.
Yeah. And granted, Dodgers are different this year. They got even more talent. I don't know what it is about the postseason, but in baseball, I think it comes down to who's hot. And I just don't see until I see it with my own eyes and it actually happens. I can't see the Dodgers going past their divisional series. Because right now, as it stands, they would face the winner if everything stands today. They would have to win whoever wins between the Mets and the Padres.
San Diego.
San Diego. So, are they both beatable teams? Absolutely. But again, I'm just thinking the postseason is different. I'm thinking when we go to the American League, when we talk about the Yankees, the year, Judge hit the most home runs in American League history. What happened to them? You know what I mean? It's just not what it used to be, like, in the 80s and the 90s, where the juggernaut teams were pretty much at least getting to the championship, at least getting to the World Series. But
and I'll say that might partially be because back then there were less rounds.
There are less rounds, right? Right.
More they expanded, we don't see the top teams getting in anymore as much.
Major League Baseball is
So wait a minute. So I think I missed it. Your confidence level in the Phillies? I'm talking about you, Miguel.
As far as them making it to the World Series or winning the World Series?
Just in the playoffs period. Like, do you have confidence?
How far do you think they'll go? I have them at the NLCS.
Right now, I would say the same. But I don't think the Dodgers make it to the NLCS. But I think the Phillies will. But I think that it's that Aaron damn Nola.
Man, it's more.
I don't like him, and you know how many times I traded him in the show. Okay,
Miguel has traded Aaron Nola ever since we've started this show.
Yes,
every year that he has traded Aaron Nola.
I've traded him first or second since MLB The Show 19. Okay, I don't like his curveball in the playoff. In big games, he's just not it. He's a 3-4 starter tops, but they've realized now they have a true ace in Wheeler. And Nola is what he is. He is what he is, and I'm glad they didn't extend him to a 12-year contract and it's only like 3 or 4 years or whatever. But
he has a pretty decent record this year. He had a pretty decent season this year, didn't he?
He did, but he's had a pretty decent season before. It's Usually late September is when he starts to like burn out or struggle. Like you expect that from Ranger Suarez because this is the most innings he's ever pitched. You expect that, right? You expect it to be better,
Got hurt.
right? But yeah, but again, it's the most he's ever pitched. So you get that next year he should be better and stronger. If not, then that's another issue.
Mm-hmm.
But with Nola, we all know he goes through his bumps and dips. September is not his greatest month on record, and then he may even pitch a shutout in the first round or in the NLDS. But by the time it gets to the NLCS or the championship, I think he's done. So,
well, I'll tell you this, and then we'll move on to the Eagles real quick, and then we'll wrap this thing up. The reasons for my lack of confidence in the Phillies right now is, Ranger Suarez hasn't been the same since he got hurt. What's his name? Christian Sanchez. All right. Well, the Phillies just hit a home run, a 2-run home run. Kyle Schwarber.
Another Schwarber bomb.
He's usually the first.
Trading is Kyle Schwarber.
Yes.
So I don't have I'm Ranger Suarez being hurt. It really, that kills my confidence because he was a solid piece in the rotation. Solid, right? Like we could depend early in this year. What we were dependent on Wheeler. Nola was stepping up. Sanchez stepped up, and then we could count on Ranger. I'm not sure if we can count on anybody right now but Wheeler. And I'm only putting Nola in there because of what else. Because he changed my mind. Bryce ain't been the same. JT ain't been the same.
Bryce is starting to hit though.
Bomer ain't been the same. Okay, I just like saying Bomer. You know, Ryan. I just like saying Bomer. Bomer ain't been the same. Marsh struggling. Austin Hayes really ain't been around. Like
Austin Hayes is dealing with a liver issue.
all over the place. Like he throws the contact, but he throws the ball all over the place. I'm just so I guess my confidence level kind of comes from the fact that, when the Phillies did win the World Series back in 2008 or whatever it was, they were dominant the entire year. And in my mind, since that was the first championship I saw, that's how a team that wins the championship is supposed to look all year. And they just haven't. Now, a guy like Coach Hunter, who's a Yankees fan, who's seen plenty of championships, I'm sure he's seen plenty of different types of championship teams. I've seen one. Like, how Floyd Mayweather says, somebody that has one loss on there, somebody showed me how to beat you. Nobody has showed you how to beat me.
The Cowboys fan that refuses to come on the show because he's completely petrified is also a Yankees fan, and we go back and forth about this. He always says, "Oh, you won your one little Super Bowl," and then God forbid I say anything about his Yankees, right? So he said you can't count any championships before the Super Bowl because they just didn't count. So I was like, you're telling me that the NFL started in 1966 when the first Super Bowl started? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I was like, so you mean to tell me that the Eagles don't have 4 world championships? Well, it's not a world championship. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna have this argument. So I throw it back.
World championship.
What'd you say?
Nothing's a world championship unless it's the Olympics
or the
Touché.
World Championship.
Or the World Championship, World Baseball Classic. The
World Cup,
World
Championships in track and field.
Touche. So my argument back to him, and this always sets him off, was like, you shouldn't count any World Series prior to 1947 because Babe Ruth never played against any blacks. I'm just saying, like, let's call it spade a spade.
He did. They just weren't MLB games.
This is true, and that's why. Well, I can talk about that for an hour. Because remember, he was
there for another show.
I know, but I will say this: he was the only white player to barnstorm, and they cut that off real quick.
Really?
Because he was he had a team called Babes or the Barnstorming Babes, and he went over to Japan, and they absolutely adored him there. And they said, We're going to nix that, which is the real reason why he never became a manager, because the Yankees were scared that he would try to break the color barrier, because he knew what
a video out there, and I'm sure you've seen it.
I've seen it.
The conspiracy video that says that Babe is black. He was just light skinned. And when you look at a lot of the features and a lot of the things that went on and the teammates that did not like him, I could understand the theory a bit more.
Well, basically, they're saying that Babe Ruth passed.
Right.
That's what older black folks call it when they, you know, the fairer skin, the lighter skin black folks could pass as white. They say they passed. They passed. I had a question. I had something to say, but I lost my train of thought once we started talking about Babe Ruth. It just threw me away. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Sorry, I know.
It scared the crap out of me.
I get excited when I remember a thought immediately. I gotta tackle it because most that don't happen quite often. The person you were just talking about, Miguel, the Cowboys. You said Cowboys and Yankees fan, right?
Yeah.
How old are they?
He's about our age.
It's about our age.
Yeah.
So he is aware that Cowboys ain't winning about
30,
almost 30 years, right? But might close to 30 years.
Right, but he'll sometimes text me just 4 Super Bowls. I'm like,
yeah, but like,
but he hadn't hit puberty.
Those games have to be colorized.
They won.
Like, you have to digitize those games.
Correct.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though.
Those games are still on NFL films.
With Steve Sable.
Steve Sable.
Like what, 10 years ago at least?
With what's his name? Cassandra.
Oh, Cassell, not Cassell.
Not Cassandra.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Down goes Frazier. I can't think.
Yeah.
Cosell.
No, not Cosell. No.
What?
He the one that did the voiceover for NFL films. It wasn't Cosell.
Yeah.
Cosell did do voiceover for NFL.
He did, but the one that was famous for it.
Who, Sable?
It was Cassandra.
Are you talking about
he was the one that was like down on the 44-yard line.
Yeah.
The Eagles will bury the bear. You know what I mean? Like, he was very.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but he ain't famous enough for me to know his name right now, and I ain't gonna try to remember it. So I'll let you look it up.
John Facenda.
I messed up my syllables and got my vowels mixed up. Yes.
Yeah.
John Facenda. Yes, that's the guy. The voice.
Yeah, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Yeah, all that. I know. Either way, Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl.
No. But we know that. He texts me all the time that I'm supposed to know it, but he won't come on the show and show his face.
That's okay. You know why?
And hear his voice.
You know why that's okay? Because now he can't defend himself, so it's okay. We can say whatever we want about him.
I want to know if he can defend the video with Jerry Jones and Jamie Foxx.
So
the dimensions of
I have a theory about that, but I'm not even going to get into it. I have a theory about that whole conversation, but I'm not even going to get into that right now. I'm not even going to get into it on the show.
Oh, God, I hate plantation owners.
Them Cowboys be diddy bopping all over the place, so I don't know. He just be, Oh, did I say diddy bopping?
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. That's twice. That's twice. 3 more, and the ref takes a point away.
I can't take it back.
That's it's a lot of baby oil.
A friend of mine used to say no broke back.
Take that.
That's what a friend of mine used to say, no broke back. So we're going to get up out of here. Sorry. We're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the CheckSwing Podcast. And, of course, Yes.
I got one final thing to say for the night before we let the good folks up out of here. I am extremely upset with Governor Mike Parsons of Missouri for allowing the execution of Marcellus Williams to
that went through.
continue.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Marcellus Williams. That man had new evidence that proved that there was no DNA matches whatsoever. And we still executed a presumably innocent man. The justice system in America is innocent until proven guilty, and we have shown again that it is guilty until proven innocent, especially when it comes to an innocent black man.
Yeah, I always pull for these people that I always pull for them, because you just for obvious reasons. Look, we're gonna get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the CheckSwing Podcast with myself and Coach Santa and our special guest, Coach Ryan Hunter from Delaware County Community College. The Go Phantoms, we appreciate you for hanging with us too. Good brother. Of course, no stranger to the show, but we'll talk to y'all next time here on the CheckSwing Podcast, y'all. Peace.
It's a lot of baby oil.